welcome to NAPOD, where we provide NA speaker meetings and workshops in a podcast. We are an ad-free podcast, and if you enjoy listening, please help us to be self-supporting by visiting napod.xyz, look for the donate link, and drop $1 or $2 in the virtual basket. If you're also in AA or have friends that are, please tell them about our other podcast, Sobercast. Sobercast features AA speakers and workshops in the same format as NAPOD. We upload a new speaker every day, and it's easy to subscribe by searching for Sobercast, that's 2 words, on any podcast player app, or go to Sobercast.com. Enjoy the podcast, and thanks for listening.
I'm Don. I'm Natty. Our first speaker is an old friend of mine, and I'm very fortunate that he is part of my recovery, and that's an understatement. And I don't know what we're going to hear on this part of it, but I'm looking forward to it. He just told me a minute ago, he asked me that. I said, okay, I'm going to go into a relationships workshop. All right, anyway. But I'm sure that we're all going to enjoy what we're going to hear from the first speaker. I don't know who's coming next. So. But, and the guys that I'm going to introduce to you, it's just so far they can come out. I've actually, you all may not believe that, but I've said that before. Can you hear me, Mike? You need to look that anger, buddy. Anyway, Gordon's a good friend of mine, and I'm very fortunate that he is real active in my recovery, and I consider it a gift. And I'm thinking you all probably get a little taste of that. And with that, I introduce Mr. Gordon G.
Hey everybody, my name's Gordon. I'm Natty. I always wondered what it looked like from this point of view. Y'all have to bear with me a little bit. First time I've ever done this. I always like to ask the God of my understanding in to have me carry his message, not mine. Okay? Relationships. Can't live with them, can't live without them. You know, I'll joking aside with that. You know, I know when I was using, I didn't have any relationships. I really didn't. And since I've been in recovery, I can't live without them. And, you know, I was telling her a minute ago, I was sitting on the deck and overlooking the lake the other morning, and Jason called me, and he asked me if I would share about relationships. And, you know, I always like to pause before I make a commitment, because when I make a commitment to Narcotics Anonymous, I like to try to keep it. And I always like to have something to share, or think I do anyway, before I say yes. And I said, relationships? I said, yeah, I can do that a little bit, you know. I'm married. I've got family. I got kids. And we talked for a minute, and I said, yeah, I'll do it, you know. And one thing led to another, and I hung up. And, you know, when you click and you hang up and you've already made that commitment, then them thoughts start running in your head. I just finished really my prayer meditation, and I looked out, and man, all I saw was the beauty of, you know, what I'm able to see today. And that was the lake and the mountains. And it came to me that my first relationship that I've gotten back since I've been in recovery is a relationship with my higher power, the God of my understanding. And I have to say that first and foremost, because without that relationship, I can't have any others. And that's just for me speaking, okay? Turn my will and my life over to the care of the God of my understanding. I don't know. This is something that means a lot to me, because, you know, when I got to that point in my using, I had no relationship with the God of my understanding, no higher power. I thought I still maintained some with my family, but I realized, you know, I was sitting on the couch and they'd gone, and their life was going on without me. So the first and foremost one I'll say again is the God of my understanding. Only through these steps have I got to, you know, close to that. I have to ask him to let me carry that message and not me, because he does it so much better. When I speak from my heart, I know that it's true. But I had to reconnect with that. I did that down in Nashville, Tennessee. My clean date's February 15, 2006. And, when I got out of there, I came home, hooked up with Don, got involved in the fellowship, and started learning about life again, So my first relationship again was with, Narcotics Anonymous. I started working the steps. I started getting closer to the higher power. Once I did that, I was able to connect back to me, myself, and I. I lost touch with that. I don't know about you all, but I hated myself. I didn't like the man I'd become. It took me a long time to become that person I hated again, and I just didn't like you all very much either, to be honest with you. But I hated myself. Through working the steps and being part of this program and this fellowship, I've learned again how to like myself. Today I respect myself. I know what I'm about again, okay? It's only through you all helping me to do that too. So me, myself, and I are okay with me today, and only through God, my understanding, am I able to do that, and that's the truth. It's a trickle-down effect for me, higher power, then myself, and then I've established, back a relationship with my wife. November, we'll be together 39 years, okay? That's longer than some of y'all have been live in this room. And, sometimes I wonder about that myself. But let me share something on this. When I went to treatment, I was a sick human being. And when I got out, man, first person, when I got home was her. And I broke down, I still today have that thought in my mind, in my body, in my heart, how much harm and pain I caused. And after a little while, I asked her, I said, how did you go through this? Why did you put up with me, for all these years? And basically, while I was gone, she took up on herself to get a basic text and read the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. And she said she'd been working a pretty damn good program most all her life. And seriously, I have to agree with that because, I didn't know she had a God of her understanding in her life. I mean, we've been married, like I say, a long time. And I learned more about my wife and being a husband since I've been in recovery than I knew before then, okay? But, she prayed a lot. I didn't know that. She always told me after I got back home, she said, I knew who you were when we got married. And she said, I knew that person was still there, but he got lost somewhere down that road, So to me, that was remarkable, to have somebody strong like that, that's not an addict, to work a program that, kept us connected and kept us in touch. So, I have to thank her for that because we have a son that's, an active addict again. He's been in and out of the rooms. And, I hate that. I've got a brother that's still in active addiction. So our family, we've suffered from this disease from the top to the bottom. And, in some ways it's a blessing because for the first time, I can establish a relationship with them because I understand, because it took me a long time before I came to these rooms. Hello, Edna. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. But hey, listen, it helps me to understand why they did the things they did that I didn't understand at that time. And so, I came in this program late and, I've been told I got a little gray hair and I usually wear a big full beard and it's pretty white by now. But I want you all to know that, in my heart and the way I feel, I'm your age. I really am. And I feel that. I know I don't look it, but in my heart and the way I feel inside. And when I look out here, this is beautiful. It really is to me. And I thank you all for being here today. Because without you, I wouldn't be here. And for me to stand up and do this, I ran from people all my life, okay? I really did. I isolated. I had no relationship. I didn't want any relationship. I thought I was self-sufficient, and I found out that's a lie. I can't live or do anything without you all. I wanted to do that, and I didn't need you all. But I found out in recovery I need each and every one of you. So my relationship with this program, the people in my life, in my family, it's all got reconnected by working the steps, okay? I'm a slow worker, but when I work them, it touches my heart, and I try to live it. It says, our actions speak a whole lot louder than our words do. So I try to live the program, and by doing so, it helps me as a person. I'm a better person. I do a little service work in our area. I do chair meetings. I go to meetings. I sponsor people. It's all about relationships. First thing I think about is male and female relationships. And, when I first came in, I was getting hugs. I think, there's part of me that always wanted that love that I never got from somewhere. I don't know. I had a loving, caring mother, but man, she was sick a lot. And, I don't know. I was the good kid in the family. My other brothers were bad, and they got the attention. I went on and did the good shit, and, but I got sick, sooner or later. And, but I getting back, the relationships that I have today, my sponsors here today, I thought intimacy was something you did with a woman, was a physical, sexual thing, and it's not. I found I can be intimate with other men, and for me to do that was hard. But my sponsor, by working the 4th and 5th steps, knows more about me than anybody on this planet. And, I had to trust this fellowship. I had to trust this program. I trusted him to some degree, but like you said, we grew up together. There's people we knew, and I was young in the program. I didn't know how much I wanted to share that or not. But I talked to some old-timers been around for a while, and they said, if you don't, it'll keep you sick. So I had to build a relationship with Narcotics Anonymous, the 12 steps. And I went to a workshop this morning, 12 Traditions. I'm starting to understand how Narcotics Anonymous got here and what it's all about. It's a self-improvement, program for us. I can't have a relationship if I don't have just what I said. God of my understanding in my life today, and me, myself, and I okay with me. That way I can have those relationships. It's funny. I'm learning to let people be who they are and not what I think they should be. And that's growth for me, because, control, fix, manage. I love to do that shit. I bossed people all my life, Didn't know how not to. That's what the environment I was raised up in. And, I've learned the beauty of people, the individuality of everybody. And, for me, I wanted to feel somewhere where I felt safe, that I felt loved, and that I felt a part of. And this fellowship and this program has given me that. So, with other recovering addicts, my sponsees, I've gotten close to them. They've done the same thing I did with my sponsor. They shared stuff they didn't want to share with nobody. I feel a privilege that somebody would trust me enough to do that with. So, my relationships have grown so much. And, I need you all. I found that out, It's a we thing. And so, that's, I know I'm redundant in that, but my relationships are all based on that. Those spiritual principles that we find in those steps, I have to live those and act on those each and every day. I don't always do it and don't do it right, but, I try. And, I've got a loved one right now that's sick again. And, man, I hate that because, I know the pain that it's going through, and I know that I can't fix it either. I can carry the message, but I can't carry the addict, even though it's my own child. And, God almighty, it's not all about me anymore. It's really not. It's what can I do? It's about giving, not taking. And, I always like that thing, we can only keep what we have by giving it away. When I first come into Narcotics Anonymous, I did feel like I was on the outside of that circle. But today I feel more that I'm in the center. But, a fella told me, he said, if you want a hug, give a hug. And, you only get what you give. And, if you want more, give more. And, that was always asked backwards the way I was raised. We gave and then we got it and then we gave. But now we give it and we get it. So I don't know. It's crazy for me. I've got a love and a care for people. I work, this is mostly on just people, but I apply that principles and what I've learned with people into other areas of my life. You know, we got to go out of these rooms and carry what we learn in here outside. And I apply it in my business relationships. I apply it in my social life, relationships. I apply it, I've been asked to do things that, it's just blown me away. It really has. Because I'm responsible today a little bit more than I used to be. I do have some age on me. I've got a lot of life experiences. All of them weren't bad, y'all. Really, I've had a lot of life experiences, but, they say that's an outside issue in here, but I brought it in here, and recovery is what we need to talk about. But my life in recovery is, it's, they say it gets better. It got different first, and then it got better. But, I don't know what to expect each and every day. I've quit learning to expect stuff, and it's all about change. There's nothing that I do or say that stays the same ever. And I hate that, but I love it, I've learned to accept that no matter where I am in my life or what's going on, that will change tomorrow or the next day or the day after that. And it's how I deal with that and how I react to that. So, my relationship really with this program, the steps and those principles, have gave me a life that's worth living today. I don't fear you all. I was nervous when I got up. Tabitha was kidding with me a little bit, but, I'm among the people that saved my life, so how can I not feel comfortable, I wish I could give you some really good insights on I will say this, I'm very involved with people in the program and relationships. I see take out more people than anything. That and financial problems. And, relationships we can work on, but man, that self-centeredness comes out, and I've had to learn to turn that over because, I still want what I want when I want it, I really do, but I really look at it, I don't want so much anymore. There comes a time, if you work these steps and get involved, you find some peace, and your wants become less, and you're happier with that, I can't really explain that, it just happened. I'm content. For the first time in my life, I'm not looking for something. I'm not looking for something to fill that hole in me no more, I used to do it with, medications, dope, whatever you want to call it. I used to do it with relationships in and outside my marriage, I got out and I ran a lot. I did some things I shouldn't have done. There's no doubt about it. I made my amends best I could. I don't do that today. I've learned how to be a responsible reaction with other human beings today, I try to help. I love you all. I really do. I don't know. When Jason asked me to share, I don't talk much when I share, especially at meetings and at home, because I say what I say, and I mean what I say, and it don't take me a long time to do it, And they said I had to. I'll get there. I'll bore you ass for 5 more minutes. But, I'm just grateful to be part of it, man. And like I say, sponsor relationship. If you let that grow, it turns into, a really good thing. That fear, I have to say that about my relationships. I had to let go of that fear and realize I'm not unique and just be who I am. That humility really plays a big part in accepting myself. And no more, no less, just be me best I can. I'm not out to hurt anybody today. And really, I don't want anything from you today. I want to give you something if I can, And I don't know, it's just, it's a healthy thing. It's a healthy thing. I go to bed at night, each morning I get up, I pray, I said, don't let me harm myself or others. To my own self be true. And I try to do that, but I can't do it on my own. So, I apply what I learned in here and do that. And I really, with my relationships, family's hard, it is for me. Outside people, and especially outside us, I deal with them, but when I apply those principles, what I learn, my interactions with people are pretty good. I'm honest about stuff. I'm willing, I'm caring, I don't want to cause you harm. I think all of us, myself, I just wanted to be loved and felt that love. And, I found it in here. I really have. I'm just grateful to be part of something that's larger than myself today. You know, I always thought that there was something. My grandfather was a minister. I was brought up in a world of church, and I'm so happy this is a spiritual, not religious program. And, I mean, it set me free. That was one of the three things that helped me get into this program, that it was spiritual, not religious, because I just didn't understand the God they're understanding. That was all. And by doing that, I excluded myself from all the good things that come with those principles that we use. And so, I had mixed emotions about it. But today, I know I'm a better person. I do better things. Getting up in front of you all, I couldn't have done this when I was high. I used to have to do some meetings and stuff like that, and that's the truth. I never went any place and did anything with more than 2 or 3 people that I wasn't high. And today I don't have to do that, I can look at y'all and it's cool standing up here, though, I will say that, because I see the diversity, in the Narcotics Anonymous, in the fellowship, and I see where each one of us has that little part to play in it. We have the ones that, they do everything just right, and we have some that don't do shit, But somewhere in the middle is where I lie, and always to me it was one extreme or the other. Today, I know most of my life is not centered at either end. I could do both of those, but in the middle really messed with me. Today I can handle in the middle, and I just go on. Each day's different. I have a good attitude. I don't wake up like a spring chicken, jump out of bed each morning, but, I'm grateful to get up, and I'm grateful I don't have to do anything, and I'm grateful I get to come and do something like this. Have you given me the 5-minute thing yet? Lord have mercy. Okay, well, it's almost over. But no, I just relationships I see, and I don't let me make you mad, but young people, it's real simple, man. It's real simple. It really is. And I see us hurting each other, and it bothers me, but I know that there's not anything I can do about it except just share my experience, strength, and hope that you really don't have to do that. And, everything is not the way you always want it, but sometimes it's always the way you need it. And you just got to find people that you can relate to, that has something that, that works for you. Life don't have to be a struggle. I found that out, And, you find someone that touches your heart. And, my wife, I'll be honest with you, we differ in some areas, but she is her own person. And I didn't realize how much she was until I got clean. And seriously, because I didn't pay that much attention. But I'm grateful for that. But, we share a lot of stuff, and she is my best friend. But my sponsor knows everything. And so, what I'm saying, and I'm glad she doesn't. But that's the way it is, Yeah, I don't keep secrets, but it says, we don't harm others. There you go. And, I've seen people do that. But today, I try not to. And I just try to do the next right thing, whatever that is. And, love and need you all, I really do. And I'm gonna shut her down. Thank you all.
I'm Tabitha. I'm an addict. I have the privilege of introducing your next speaker today. There are a few people in my life that are so important to me. I say if they murdered somebody, I would write them letters every week and visit them in prison, and I would not turn my back on them. And I believe that, and I know that with my whole heart, because when something happens in your life, you start to process it. And the first thing is all the rough draft bullshit, the crisis mode. And there are very few people that can be there for you through that time and not judge you. And that's the one asset that this girl has that I immediately can pull out, is that when you're in crisis mode, she'll be there, she'll listen, and she will help you process through it. When you process it and you're sane, she'll say, shoo, you were fucking crazy. And the experience she has with relationships in her family and with her friends, romantic relationships, you see her do something, you're like, oh shit, this is going to hurt. But she's going to learn something from it. My first sponsor that I worked in 4-step with called that an opportunity for growth. And I usually can't say those words with a straight face, and sometimes she'll call me and say, I'm getting ready to do this, and I'll think, whew, that's an opportunity for growth. And but she does it anyway, and she stays clean. So she has a message to share with you all here today, and I'll give you Jennifer.
I just got real hot. I'm an addict named Jennifer. I don't like standing behind these podiums. They make me real nervous. I'd rather pull a chair out front, and I've been known to do that. But you know, like Tabitha said, I have had a lot of opportunities for growth, and some of them by choice, some of them not by choice. You know, I have experience with the family. When I got here, my family didn't want a lot to do with me. My mom and dad, when they would go out of town, they just expected a phone call about one of us kids, that we were either 1 in jail, 2 in the hospital, or 3 dead, or 4 having parties at their house. And the last time that my parents went out of town, when I was using, they went, you know, they went on a nice vacation, and they got a call from my grandma, who was supposed to be babysitting me. Mind you, I'm like 18 years old, so whatever. And she was like, she's missing. And my mom said, well, you know, if anything happens, if she happens to die or something, just stick her on ice till we get back. They were done. They didn't want anything to do with me. They did not want to deal with it. I had put them through so much that by that point, they just didn't care anymore. They couldn't cry anymore. My mom said she had no tears left. And today I have those relationships back. You know, and that's been my experience. And that's what I'm going to share with you today is my experience. And all the relationships that I lost using are back today. Most of them. You know, when I came into these rooms, I went into treatment, and I was in a relationship, or something. I was in something. A sick relationship. I don't know what, a drug-induced relationship probably was the best way to put it. And, you know, he went to treatment, I went to treatment. 30 days after being in treatment, I get a phone call that he decided to pick up one more time while he was there, and he never came out. So the romantic relationships and me didn't get along when I first got here. I was scared of them, but I wanted one. You know, and I know when people hear relationships, that's where their heads go. Like, please tell me the answer of what I'm supposed to do to make these relationships work. So I was terrified. I was terrified that the next one that I got into a relationship was going to also use, and I've had that experience since I've got here. You know, I got here and I was looking for that love. I was looking for it. I was young. I was 20 years old when I walked into these rooms. So I wanted that. You know, any 20-year-old that's a human being wants that. Like, it's just something that we want, and so I went searching for it. A lot. You know, I went to the Jersey Shore searching for it. I went to Columbus. I went to Tennessee. I went everywhere. And, you know, it never came in that way. I tried the newcomer. I didn't work out, needless to say. But what I can say is that through all of this, the one thing that I got when I got here, and it's the relationship, the only relationship that's been consistent throughout my whole recovery, is the one I got with 1, my higher power, and 2, my sponsor. I was telling her the other day, because I recently had 2 really, really good friends that were like my rocks in this program. You know, we have those people that you call and you tell everything to, that you don't really want to tell your sponsor, so you call these other people. You know, you're like, yeah, this is, you know, that's my grand sponsor, but she knows a lot too. Both of them, same time, crazy hot messes. You know, they picked up. And the one, you know, she's been there my whole recovery. And, it's hard to watch that. Really, really hard to watch. And, it breaks my heart. It really does. And, you know, that's the one thing, like, I picked up that when they said, you know, no matter what, don't pick up. Just don't use. It's not going to make it better. And, you know, relationships can be a terribly painful area, and they are on any given day. And that can be the most joyful part of your life. You know, I'm here with 7 people that, you know, I have this relationship with that it's magical. You know what I mean? I have those relationships, and I also have the relationships that have caused me pain. And unfortunately, I deal with a lot better with the pain ones. I can thrive from those. You give me drama, and I can run with it. You give me, like, serenity, and I don't know what to do on any given day, and peace. You know, but, I have so much experience with relationships. My head's everywhere. I got here and I got with this addict. You know, we were dating, and it was a sick relationship, but I was chasing it. And I've chased it for 5 years in my recovery. I finally let it go this year. And, you know, we were engaged. He had a daughter. We're not engaged anymore. We're not married, and I no longer speak to him. You know, so I've dealt with a lot of feelings in here. You know, we go through a lot of feelings with relationships. We really do. They can bring all sorts of feelings. And I didn't know where to place them on any given day. And the only thing I could do on some days was go to a fucking meeting and share about it. You know, that's all I could do. And people got wore out about me sharing about that, I guarantee it. Because, I mean, it was literally 5 years of just constantly sharing about the mess. You know, but now what I was given by that was a lot of experience for these women who walk through these doors, and men who walk through these doors and are going through the same fucking thing. Do they listen all the time? No. But I have that experience to share with them. You know, I have a friend who I've been there for since she walked into these rooms. And, you know, we've been there for each other. And, you know, they've been talking a lot at this convention about these people who hug you and tell you they love you and then turn around and stab you in the back. And, I went through that this summer. Sure did. And, she's sick too. You know what I mean? And, it was hard, you know, to lose a best friend. I lost 3 best friends in the past, 3 months. To the disease. Whether or not they all picked up or not doesn't really matter. Defects can hurt us just as bad as someone going out and using. And, you know, I talk to her all the time still. You know, that's something that I've been blessed with in here is forgiveness, compassion, empathy, love. Regardless of what you do to me, I have to remember you are an addict. I'm capable of it on any given day, and believe you me, I've had it out with some of these people. Really had it out with some of these people. I've done things in here, you know, with relationships and not being able to deal with the feelings in ways that I would hope I'd never do again. You know, I took some of my old behaviors with me, like, oh, you hurt me, I'll hurt you even more. And it's tough to go through that kind of stuff in here. And, you know, it's really funny that I'm actually here sharing, because I was supposed to share. They called me and asked me to do a workshop, and I gave them, they read off the topics, and I was like, oh, well, I'll do this one, and it was supposed to be tomorrow morning's topic, right? And I was like, well, I have to leave Saturday, and he was like, okay, let's switch you here, and then he ended up switching me again, and it ended up getting to relationships, and I'm currently working the 4th step, and just finished the resentments part, so now I'm on relationships. And, it's interesting. You know, this program is a miracle, and it works in ways that I could never explain. You know, I couldn't have asked for this topic. I couldn't have asked for it. God placed it in my life, you know. There's a reason I'm supposed to share with y'all. There's a reason that somebody's in this room right now, and they're like, I can really relate to that, and she didn't use through it. That's our message. You know, no matter what we go through in here. Because the relationships are, I mean, you hear about it every day in meetings. Somebody is going through something with the relationship every single day. And the one thing that we don't do in here is use. You know, you've been given a choice the day you walk through these doors. You know, I don't have to use anymore over the way I feel. You know, and I don't want to today. I know if I pick up today, then all of these relationships I've gained with the sponsor, the friends who went and told my family, normal friends, you know, she's got a big problem and she needs help. We don't want her to go on senior trip with us because she's going to die. those friends that I have relationships with today would no longer exist if I used. All the people in here, you guys would not turn your backs on me, but you'd be weary. Let's get honest. Like, people walk through these rooms all the time. And you're like, man, I hope they stay. I hope they stay, but we put up this wall. We put up a big wall, and that's what I found myself recently doing, and I think, that's a big part of where I'm at right now is trying to take back down that wall with people and letting people back in. It's hard when you have people that are this close to you, like literally this close to you, in treatment with you, go through years of recovery with you. Next thing you know, you can't even talk to them because they're crazy. Crazy. You talk to them every single day for 6.5 years, and then one day, you're like, well, what the hell happened? You need to go to the psych ward? Like, you are nuts. I can no longer talk to you. But I still pick up the phone and try my best and then call another addict when I get off the phone. Those relationships, like, it is all about relationships, and you share that. And the relationship I have with myself today is that I respect myself today. And I know if I don't stay well, then I can't be here whenever they come back. That engagement that I was in, he went out for a couple years, but I was still sitting in the same seat when he came back. Another relationship I was in, he decided to use. I was here when he got back. Friends, I've had so many friends go out and use. Close friends throughout the years. Sitting right here when they come back. And on any given day, that's what keeps me clean. I want to wait for them to come back. It's not like I don't ever think about using. Some of this shit's tough. I've been that addict up at 3 o'clock in the morning on Facebook, like, who's still awake? Call me. Because I'm sitting here bawling my eyes out because he done fucked me again. And they call. And I talk to them at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I get a little bit of sleep that night. I was like, I have so much to say, and now I can't remember anything. The relationship I formed with my higher power today. I've heard people in here, too, say, I cuss. Well, I cuss. And I cuss to my higher power. I'll be like, what the fuck? What are you trying to tell me, motherfucker? You know what I mean? I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand. I can't fathom what you're trying to tell me, and why do I have to go through all of this shit to get to the other side? There's all of these, like, bumps in the road, they call them. Well, those fucking bumps hurt sometimes, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And I get fucking pissed. I get sad. I get happy. And right now, what I can say is, like, all that this has given me is all this experience. And today, one of those best friends that I used to call whenever all this shit would go bad, that knows everything about me, well, most everything about me, I'm content in a relationship with him today. A romantic relationship. Never did I ever think it would really happen. To be content in a relationship. I'm not looking for the next one. That's what I've always done. I get one of the romantic relationships, and I'm like, well, I know this one's not going to last, but I'll keep him until I find the next one. And then when I find the next one, I make sure that one's still there, so when that one don't work out, I can still have that one and still be looking for the next one. I have been sick for years with this shit. And, I don't know what happened. I do know what happened. I got with the one that decided to use again and die. I got with the one that I was engaged to that decided to go back out and get high and do everything else he did. I got with that. I worked my steps on that. I'm currently working a 4-step on that. God help me. And the steps they are our freedom. They free us from ourselves, because on any given day, I can be that girl pushing down the door, going through another woman's laundry room to go down to the basement and kick his ass. But today, 5 years, 4, 3, 2, damn, that hasn't been that long ago, has it? No. 2 years later, I don't have to do that. But I was so caught up, and that's the messed up thing. Like, I don't even know why it happens, because a lot of normal people don't have this. Like, it is an addict thing, where we get so caught up on stuff that we just run, trying to fix, manage, and control shit. I was trying to change the way they thought. Family relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, any of it. I wanted them to change, and I wanted them to be who I wanted them to be because it was all about me. You know, I want what I want when I want it. Me, myself, and I are the most important people here. It's not like that today. You know, today I can let you in even after you fuck me. You know? And that's a big deal for me. That's a big deal. Because it wasn't always like that. It was like, no, I'm good. I got enough of you guys on this side. I don't need all the ones on this side. You know, relationships, they're never ending. And I keep getting more as a result of this program. You know, I know, and like the thing that's crazy is I could walk up to any one of you in this room and tell you all about all this, and you'll give me a hug when you're done, or when I'm done, and tell me you love me. You know, no matter what I do, and that's the blessing of Narcotics Anonymous. That was what I was looking for my whole life. You know, the relationship that I have with myself, the relationship I have with a higher power, and people who actually love me no matter what. No matter what. I was never used to that. You know, I had a family who cared about me until they couldn't care about me anymore. You know, they had to let me go. And it was what got me here. When they finally said, I'm done, is whenever I walked through these doors. You know, they were big enablers in my life. You know, my grandmother, I got to make an amends to these people, and I've never went back on that amends that I made to these people. Everything I said I would do, and everything I said I was truly sorry for and that I would do anything to make up for it, I've not done it again. So I don't have to remake that amends. I've not used, you know, so that helps. And they trust me today. You know, I never had that before either. From significant others, from friendships, from anybody. They didn't trust me. Purses were hid everywhere I went. You know, and they left the bathroom door open because they knew that's where I wanted to go. You know, it's not like that today. You know, these people that went to my family and said, you know, she's got a problem. These true, like, down and dirty, like, been friends since we were, like, in diapers. Went to their college graduation. They come see me today. They call me on my anniversary and say, thank God. You know? Because they really all expected to bury me. You know? And it's not that hard for me to form relationships today. It's hard for me to keep them. I get to this point where I get fearful, and I think that's what I'm probably going to get out of my 4th step is walking through that fear and being able to really let that wall down, because I let you in at surface. But any deeper than that, hold up. You know, my sponsor can have all of it. Because I've had so many people go out. And that's my fear in here, and all I keep doing is praying for him to come back. I heard Tony share last year at Ripley. And he slammed his chair up on the table and he said, this is for that one that you're waiting to walk through the door. And I lost it. I just broke out in tears. You know, because I've lost relationships with family, with friends that have walked out that door, and I'm just waiting for them to walk back through. You know, I had brothers who I've had to cut off contact with many, many times because they're caught up in their disease. And that's where, like, a lot of the relationships, and I think that's why I'm so scared to use, is because I've lost so many people to it. You know, there's so many relationships that I've lost to this disease. Whether or not we buried them or not doesn't really matter. You know, but I haven't seen them walk back through the door in a while. And when they do, they remind me of how bad it was, but then they go back out. You know, and so it's like I watch for those people now. I'm a lot better at watching your actions and not listening to your words anymore. Because that's what I did. You could talk real good, and so I thought you were, you know, on some pedestal. It's not so much like that today. You know, I'll watch you. If you can tell me something, but, like, I want to watch what you do because I really need to feel secure in my relationships today. And I think that a lot of that stems from, you know, the opportunities for growth I've had. Because I have grown a lot in this process. Like I said, I was a hot mess. I got in trouble when I was in treatment for allowing a man to stay there with me. You know, so I was a hot mess. You know, it was all about that. The next one. My disease manifested into men and shopping. And I needed a fix every day. You know, and I've grown since I've been here. And I've grown in so many other areas, and I'm really, truly grateful for that. I'm grateful that I got asked to share here. I can't believe where I'm at today. You know what I mean? And that I went and saw these falls that are gorgeous and I can actually be in the moment. Because that's due to the fact that I formed this relationship with myself where I actually give a damn about that today. I took a hike that I could have done without, but that was fun. You know, and while I'm walking, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm taking a fucking hike? Literally, like, people used to tell me to take a hike all the time, and I never fucking listened. Ever. You know, and where I'm at right now is, like, you know, trying to reform some of these relationships that I have lost due to my resentments. I formed these resentments on people, and I can't seem to let them go. And, I'm working on that today. You know, and it's just constant. Like, the one thing I can say about relationships is that any relationship that we have, good, bad, or indifferent, when shit hits the fan and everything, you know, it could be the littlest thing. We build mountains out of molehills, whatever. We just don't pick up over it. You know, like he said, like, I've seen a lot of people come into these rooms, and it's like you can call it. Like, they're going to get together, and then that one's going to go out. And it happens. You know what I mean? And, like, all I keep telling these people when I got a sponsee right now, who she's, I don't even know, 60 days clean. And it's all about the men, and I just keep telling her, you're going to do what you want to do anyway. You're going to do it. I could sit here all day and preach to you, but you're going to do it if you want to. Just don't fucking use. Just don't use. Over any of these relationships, because none of us really come in here. We do, but we don't come in here and say how wonderful our relationships are going. We may say we're grateful for a minute, but then we talk about when shit's hitting the fan. You know, that's what we come in and we share about because we need that relief. And so the relief that I can give you today and the message I can give you today is we do recover. Just don't use. You know, what can I do? That chapter in the book, replace it with relationships. Where they say dope or take it to the first step. You know how many times I had to do that? Replace it with his name rather than drugs. Replace it with my family's name instead of drugs. Did it all the time. All the time. And if you do that, it really opens your eyes to, like, what you're doing. You know, and I think the reason I just keep going back to this is because I do it. I think of romantic relationships when I think about this. It's a lot easier to share about that than share about, you know, everything else. And I have a lot of experience with it. Like I said, I ran a lot of places. It has only been about a year ago. I met this guy and ran to the Jersey Shore. You know, that was a fun weekend. You know, I've looked all over the country, and it was sitting right in front of my face the whole time. And I'm content. I haven't been content in a romantic relationship ever. Ever. And it's due to this 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, it's the message. An addict, any addict, can stop using, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live in every area of our lives. Not just with drugs. Every area of our lives. You know, y'all are in this workshop today, and I know if I wouldn't have been sharing it, I would be sitting right here. Well, actually, I got a sponsor who was sharing downstairs. I may have went down there for the first half, but I would have made it up here, looking for some big, phenomenal answer. Like, what do we do about relationships? Work your steps. Be honest. Listen when your grand sponsor gives you an assignment that you really don't want to do, and you do it anyway, and you get some relief. You know, there's things that was said to me the whole time I was doing this, and I didn't listen. You know what I mean? I had to have my experience. But what I can say is that I don't judge other people when they call and they're a hot mess, like she said. I wish she could tell her story. But you know, I don't judge them, and I don't expect to be judged for what I do or what I did. You know, we all have our process, and like I said, I'm real grateful for mine. You know, there are a lot of younger people walking through these doors, and I see myself in a lot of them. And I'm just like, please, please, please don't do what I did. And it seems like all of them come up and ask me to sponsor them. It's like they're drawn to me. And I can't do all of that, but what I can tell them is call me. You know, call me, and I'll be there. I'll answer the phone, because that's what people did for me. When I was going through the good parts of the relationships and when I was going through the bad parts of the relationships. You know, last week I got to go home for court. I haven't been to court since 2005. It was to seal my records. And my family that sat in that courtroom with me, and the judge said, am I boring you? Because I couldn't keep my eyes open. I had been up for just a little while and high. And he said, am I boring you? Was the same judge that signed my papers the other day and told me he was proud of me. You know? And those family members that didn't want anything to do with me showed up and helped me with that. Because they see the difference in me today. You know, I go home. I don't live where, and since I'm from Cincinnati now, but I lived in Gallipolis, and I go home all the time to see my grandmother that I put through hell. Because I know she's not going to be around forever. People say, why do you go home all the time? I have family there that I want to spend time with today. I also want to leave when it's time to go, because they have their addictions. But I want to see them. I want to spend time with them. I have to let them be where they're at and let them know I love them no matter what, just like they did for me. You know, and before my other grandmother died, I went home even more so I could spend time with both of them. You know, that's a blessing of this program. I never cared about going to family dinners, and if I did go, there better be something on the back of the toilet. Because I'm going to have to go do that to be able to spend time with y'all and then be able to leave because you'll want me to leave. You know, it's not like that anymore. I don't need anything to go spend time with them. I don't need anything to spend time with y'all. I couldn't leave town before, you know, to form any relationships. Because it was always like, well, let's go ahead, and then we get down there, and, well, we might as well just go back and get a few more, because I don't know if this is going to be enough. You know, I couldn't form any kind of relationships outside of whatever circle I was in that day. And at the end, it was just me. You know, begging and pleading with the higher power that I have today. Please, just one more. Either one more get me out of this, or just let me get one more, and then I'll stop doing it. It's just not like that today. And, you know, there was some amends. Somebody shared last night, or today, because I went in the fifth step workshop, and he shared, you're not supposed to make an amends on the second step. I tried to do it on my first. She slammed the door in my face and told me to get out. It wasn't great, so now I'm like, well, what do I do now? Nothing. I'm told to do nothing. But, you know, there are some relationships where I just pray that if they're ever supposed to be again, they'll be again. You know, I have to let a lot of things go. So I don't know, I'm real grateful that I have Narcotics Anonymous in my life. I'm, grateful that I have people like Tabitha, and, you know, she's my grand sponsor, and I have my sponsor, who have been consistent parts of my recovery. I need that consistency. You know, I'm going through a lot right now. I'm going through a lot inside, outside, physically, emotionally, name it. These past 3 months have sucked. It's changed, a lot of change. And due to these relationships that I do have today, these stable ones that I know just for today aren't going anywhere, I've been able to make it through that, and it's not easy. You know, I've moved twice. I lost a friend. I got in a relationship. I am working the fourth step. I graduated college. I'm looking for a career. I started a job and quit a job, you know, all in, like, since July. I mean, those are some pretty big things, but due to the relationships that I have grown in these rooms, I was able to get through that clean. You know, I'm still getting through it clean today, and I still show up. Meetings reduce shock of change. I've been going to a lot of meetings. A lot. And I can also find myself trying to hide out in these meetings. Like, oh, I go to a meeting morning, noon, and night because I don't have nothing else to do. Or I could go out and try to look for a job, you know. It's not just going to fall in my lap like I kind of hope it would sometimes. You know, but I'm glad I'm here. And I'm guessing time's probably about up. I could probably ramble for days about relationships. But, I'm glad I have the ones I have today, you know, and I'm going to keep coming back, you know, and I'm grateful to say that the romantic relationship that I'm in is healthy today. You know, there are no secrets. I'm not looking for the next one. Usually I'd come to something like this and be scoping out the room like, all right, where's he at? You know, I'm going to find me one while I'm here. That was me, you know, because he couldn't make it. And I'm like, does he really trust me to come to this? He knows me. You know, and I don't want that today. It's huge. I don't want any of y'all. I have one. And he's enough. And I'm happy. You know, I was crazy. But, I don't know. I'm real grateful they asked me to share, and, I'm grateful I found Narcotics Anonymous and I've stayed clean. So, you know, if you didn't hear nothing else today, just remember that no matter what, we never have to use again, no matter what feelings we're going through. Ever. We've been given a choice. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please help us improve our ranking so others can find us by putting a review on Stitcher, iTunes, or your favorite podcast index. Nawpod is ad-free thanks to the folks supporting the show with $1 or more per month. If you enjoy listening, you can join them by going to nawpod.xyz and looking for the donate link. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.